explaining the science and just a few genetic issues that directly or indirectly influence lipedema, MTHFR, COMT, POMC, PPAR gamma, and AKR1C1. Hello, I'm Carla Whorton, nurse practitioner and anti-aging health provider certified via A4M. It all starts in the DNA, and here's where it gets really exciting. Epigenetics. We do not have to be afraid of our genes, we just have to optimize them. I absolutely love the biochemical, pathophysiological pathways of the body. You know, pathways are like a domino effect. You know what happens when a domino goes sideways, but we don't have to let the dominoes go sideways. We can take control. This is epigenetics. Epigenetics is the study of how lifestyle, stress, diet, exercise, movement, sleep, and environmental factors can influence our genes and therefore our chemical pathways. But of course, it's not always that easy. If we don't know we have one, we don't know we should be taking this or taking that. The beautiful thing about epigenetics is that we are not stuck with the genetic cards that we have been dealt. We do not have to accept the status quo we wake up with every day. We can change our mind. Even if we have mutations in these genes, we can use epigenetic tools to improve the function and reduce the impact they have on our health. This is our choice. There are many polymorphisms and genes that affect how we detoxify estrogen and the way we burn and or store fat. These genes can be directly or indirectly related to lipedema. You've already heard me mention MTHFR, methylene tetrahydrofolate reductase. It's a gene essential for methylation and detoxification. I possess 2 copies of this polymorphism, A1298C and C677T, which are the most common. MTHFR occurs in some form in approximately 50% of the population, and some research says even more. When MTHFR is not functioning properly, it impairs the body's ability to methylate and detoxify estrogen, as well as other toxins in the body. This can result in a buildup of estrogen metabolites, one in particular which is proliferative and has been linked to fat accumulation, fibrosis, and inflammation, which are key features of lipedema. MTHFR can also cause low dopamine, which can result in an altered dopamine reward pathway and blood vessel permeability. Dopamine is our motivational hormone. Therefore, low dopamine can be related to a lack of motivation, mood, and drive. It is also can be related to ADHD and autism. It controls the blood vessels, the permeability. Actually, low dopamine, therefore, can cause more fluid leaking out into the tissues. But there's an easy peasy fix if we know. And up to 98% of my lipedema ladies have at least one copy out of the 4. But there's also another gene in this detox pathway that we can ignore. COMT, catechol-O-methyltransferase. Why do they have such awful names? This one acts like the final bouncer at the estrogen party. If it's sluggish, the rowdy guest, harmful metabolites hang around too long, causing chaos and inflammation and tissue damage, possibly contributing to lipedema, fibroids, and mood disorders. COMT's job is to methylate and deactivate harmful estrogen metabolites, especially 2-hydroxy and 4-hydroxyestrone. When COMT is low or under-functioning, either due to genetic mutations or low methylation capacity, these metabolites linger, increasing oxidative stress, DNA damage, and tissue inflammation. In lipedema, where tissue fibrosis, pain, and hormonal sensitivity are already present, inefficient COMT function may amplify symptoms by allowing pro-inflammatory metabolites to accumulate. Because COMT also breaks down dopamine and norepinephrine, women with COMT also experience greater sensitivity to stress, which can worsen cortisol dysregulation, insulin resistance, and fat storage. Again, there is an easy peasy fix. Then there's POMC, a gene that influences appetite, fat storage, and pain perception. These mutations or dysregulations are linked to abnormal fat distributions, chronic pain syndromes, both of which mirror the symptoms of lipedema. PPAR gamma, often called the fat regulator gene, influences how adipocytes, fat cells, grow and respond to inflammation. In lipedema, PPAR gamma may be upregulated in early stages, driving to excessive fat accumulation, and dysregulated in later stages, promoting fibrosis and congestion. Exercise and movement optimizes this one. AKR1C1, while not common in the lipedema population, was found in a family in Germany and plays a role in converting progesterone to its inactive form. This is a very rare mutation. Progesterone is more widely known for its protective, anti-proliferative role in counterbalancing estrogen's proliferative effect. Progesterone is anti-inflammatory, anti-estrogenic, as well as anti-proliferative. Most studies suggest that replacement doses of natural progesterone do not cause weight gain. However, those levels seen as those with synthetic progestins, which accumulate in the body because our enzymes were not made to metabolize and rid of synthetic hormones, or even in impaired metabolism, may promote lipogenic activity. Weight gain has been observed when progesterone levels are way above the luteal phase only, or in other words, very, very high. These are just a few. However, you can see that these genes and polymorphisms listed above interact with estrogen, progesterone, inflammation, and metabolism. When they don't function together, it can cause the perfect storm: estrogen buildup, metabolite buildup, impaired fat breakdown, chronic inflammation, and disproportionate fat storage. If we know in time, some of these conditions might be prevented with diet. Green leafies optimize MTHFR. Great sleep and circadian rhythm optimize us anyway, which helps leave some of these light switches off. Others need the supplements. I can tell you from personal experience, when I started the treatment for MTHFR, I felt like a different person within 2 weeks. The brain fog lifted. Energy came back. We just have to know it to fix it. I'm so thankful for Dr. Jim Stevens, naturopathic doctor, for finally taking my family history of heart disease, my personal history of breast cancer and fibroids, and Brandy's estrogen-related issues of endometriosis and fibroids. Then she finally tested me for this polymorphism. It made all the difference in the world, and it is one of the reasons I decided to go into anti-aging medicine. Genomic insight testing identifies polymorphisms that might cause disease and conditions, recommends what to eat, what not to eat, what to take, not to take, utilizing AI to prevent these conditions. The dry urine test of comprehensive hormones is 17 to 18 pages of information regarding the hormones and metabolites in the body. It displays the diurnal cortisol curve, the dopamine and melatonin metabolites, as well as all three estrogens, yes, we have three, and their pathways of detoxification. There's always methods and protocols to do to make things better and optimize. First time Dr. June told me my 16-hydroxy was high, I did not know what it was. I just depended on her to fix it. She did. I will fix yours too. I'll decrease these metabolites to decrease your risk of breast cancer, fibroids, endometriosis, and lipedema. Exercise and movement also optimizes PPAR gamma. I optimized most of my entire life. I knew something was wrong with me even way back in the 3rd grade. I would go to sleep at my desk while everyone was running around crazy or just paying attention and learning like they were supposed to. I didn't know at that time, of course, that I had MTHFR, most likely low dopamine. But I found out that I love to read. I read everything I could get my hands on. When we ran out at home, I'd go to the neighbors and ask if they had anything I could read. Obviously, it was raising my dopamine. At around 13, I found out exercise made me feel fantastic. And later, I found out I could run, and I still do to this day, every morning. Again, dopamine. I also researched at the library way back then with no computers what would give me energy. I started taking vitamin B12 sublingual. Then in the late 20s, I had the breast cancer, the estrogen metabolite. Then I started taking SAMe in the early 30s. I also did my runs outside early in the morning, if at all possible, before work. I found that the bright light therapy from the sky, or even with the light boxes, just back then I had a huge one. But here in Arizona, we don't usually need it. But back then, even if we were on vacation or wherever, I had to exercise and get outside for a little while to wake up my brain. I still do. I knew way back then that I was optimizing and I had to do it, but I did not know I was optimizing MTHFR. I'm so thankful for Dr. June testing me for this, and now through the years I've learned what all it was doing. Most of my lipedema ladies have at least one copy of this gene. And of course, I always have my ears open for signs, and I diagnose at least 2 or 3 every week. Optimize your genetics, your hormones, lipedema, and weight with me, Carla Whorton, NP, Scottsdale, Arizona.